Yo, what's going on YouTube? Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Lamzu Maya. Now, let's get straight into what I like and I don't like about this mouse. Starting off with what I like about this mouse, it has a very good sensor, a very good feeling when you click down. The side buttons are very nice. All around sturdiness and production of this mouse is very good. It comes down to your personal preference of how you grip a mouse and what you're looking for in a mouse. For me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the shape. There's a couple of reasons why, but it feels like when you're using this mouse, you're a little bit elevated off the ground. And what I mean by that is compared to a normal mouse, the back hump is very elevated. And even when it's at the lowest point of the mouse, so it curves down and comes to the lowest point, there's still this gap from the floor, which makes you feel a little bit elevated, which for me, I have a smaller hand, so sometimes it'll make me feel like I have a lack of control. This mouse is primarily made for declaw. So what that means is instead of doing a natural resting grip, how I like it, this mouse is made for you to claw your fingers, usually stick this thumb out and have a more elevated press down click instead of naturally resting. So if you have a claw grip, this is a great mouse to get. I like to have a more natural resting position on the mouse, so this isn't my type of mouse. All around, it is a great production, a great company, great clicks, great scroll wheel, good battery life. All around, the coating is nice. I like the black. I like the logo on the side. It really does come down to the big backwards hump, which it's more middle bound, but it elevates your hand and is really meant for that claw because it elevates your palm and then your fingers almost want to scrunch up because the natural resting point, the resting point doesn't feel natural because you have your palm here. So you almost overshadow it a little bit. So then you end up having to come back on the mouse, which makes for that claw. Like you end up having to, instead of like full palming it, you really want to have a relaxed backwards and then go for the claw. That's the natural fitting for this mouse. You can obviously tell that when you hold it. So if that's your natural grip, this is the mouse for you. But me personally, that is not my natural grip. I really do like the upwards resting, almost resting down on top. That's my type of thing. I like to rest down on top and have a much more relaxed feel. The best way I can describe it with a random word that doesn't have any correlation to anything is technical. It feels a little bit technical. Now, I don't know what that means to me, but that's the feeling I get when I hold this mouse is instead of having a natural, you come down with the palm and have a little back. It's on the back when you're holding it. So you're holding the mouse. The palm is, instead of like naturally resting like this, you drop it back and then you go for the claw grip. And it's a very technical mouse. Now, this is a close to $100 mouse. So it's in the $100 budget, which is very, very good, especially for the quality of this mouse. If you do have the natural grip to fit this mouse, which we talked about previously, I would look into this mouse. It's very good for the budget. For me personally, I'm going to have to rate this mouse a 7.0 out of 10, but that does not take away from the great quality of this mouse.